Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, a New York District Court judge has thrown out the case that Hovensa filed against the VI government for tax claims. The judge's ruling dismissed the case for lack of jurisdiction. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
Governor Kenneth Mapp's response to the news that Hovensa's New York tax case against the VI government was dismissed was simple. In a prepared statement issued Thursday, the chief executive said, "I will continue to fight on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands and for the territory's best interests." Hess Oil Virgin Islands, or HOVIC, and its subsidiaries filed a lawsuit against the VI government last December. The case was filed in both the District Court of the Virgin Islands, where the Hovensa refinery sits, and the District Court of the Southern District of New York, where HOVIC operates. The refinery owners hope to recover more than $230 million they say they overpaid in income taxes to the VI Bureau of Internal Revenue. The VI government filed a motion to dismiss the complaint in March. They said the court did not have the subject matter jurisdiction to hear the claims in New York, and that was one of 4 reasons to throw the case out. New York District Court Judge Paul Atkins sided with the territory's government and dismissed the case for lack of subject matter jurisdiction. The judge found that the VI's tax system was separate and distinct as established by the U.S. Congress, and that HOVIC themselves recognized the VI's district court as the proper place to handle tax refund claims when they file the claim there. Judge Atkins also said if the court sided with HOVIC in this case, that would mean the territory could be required to defend itself against tax refund claims anywhere in the U.S. That would put more of a burden on the VI than on the United States. So back to the VI's district court the case goes. The VI had also sought to have the case dismissed on the basis of a lack of personal jurisdiction, lack of venue, and forum nonconvenience, but it wasn't necessary once the court found support for the first issue. Erica Parsons, News 2.
News 2 was unable to get a response from Hess officials by news time. We will provide the company's statement once we hear from them. A local nonprofit dedicated to serving the community through HIV prevention is facing some challenges. Helping others in a positive environment, or HOPE, lost some key funding recently, but this turn of events could actually be a good thing for the organization that's getting ready for major change. News 2's April Knight has that story.
Ivy Moses has led Hope Inc. for more than a decade. The local nonprofit provides HIV prevention services on St. Thomas.
Annually, we provided approximately 3,000 HIV tests, free HIV tests, within the St. Thomas St. John district.
Since 2003, residents could step inside Hope and get tested for HIV for free, thanks to a grant from the Centers for Disease Control. But last month, the CDC abruptly cut the funding.
We competed with over 500 agencies. Only 140 received a site visit. We were one of the 140 that received a site visit. After all was said and done, only 100 agencies were funded. We were not one of the agencies that were funded.
But officials here at Hope are turning what could have been a really bad situation around and using it to their benefit, ushering in a new phase in Hope's services to the community.
Starting August 10th, their clients with insurance will get only their insurance charged without co-pays. But those without insurance won't be left out either.
We will have a means test based on funding and income. We also have fundraisers.
According to Moses, their HIV testing protocols will also get an upgrade. Moses says the conversation on HIV needs to be on the forefront, especially in a community that's one of the most plagued by the disease.
We've always placed within the top 5 to top 10 for incidence rates per capita. It is a taboo topic that's killing people.
For News 2, I'm April Knight.
HOPE Inc. advises individuals who are in need of HIV testing to contact the VI Department of Health. The Senate Committee of the Whole hearing on the matter of the governor's residence is coming up this Thursday, July 9th, in the Earl B. Otley Legislative Building on St. Thomas. Senators have discussed the issue and have come up with some preliminary solutions that are up for further discussion. News 2's April Knight has details.
Senate President Neville James said the 31st legislature is tackling a chronic problem that several governors have had to deal with, finding a place to live while in office.
You know, there are a lot of people that are hoping that we're on a witch hunt, but a witch hunt is the last thing that we're looking for. We just want to bring an end to this.
Most recently, Governor Kenneth Mapp got heat for renting a villa on St. Thomas for upwards of $14,000 a month in the middle of a fiscal crisis. Like several other governors before him, he said Estate Catherineburg, the official residence on St. Thomas according to law, is unlivable. The majority caucus then is looking at two solutions.
The consensus opinion at this point is that we either do one of two things. We retrofit government house to include residency ability, or we purchase properties, construct or purchase properties that are ready for them to be habitable.
The federal government might have to get involved in a revision of the VI code and in funding these solutions. The idea of a separate residence for the lieutenant governor is also in question.
The revised Organic Act doesn't speak to residency for the lieutenant governor. It does speak to us having a lieutenant governor, but it doesn't speak to residency.
On Thursday, the Senate also aims to straighten out the role of the West Indian Company in providing housing for the governor. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Senator Kenneth Gittens has also signed a petition calling for Congress to make changes to Virgin Islands law in relation to the governor's residence. Well, the first in a series of meetings kicked off for residents of Savannah to tackle crime and other long-standing issues. The goal, however, was to establish a neighborhood watch program for the area. Some of the concerns were large amounts of trash, the establishment of new bars, and a growing number of vagrants in the area, according to residents. Monday night's meeting at Christchurch Methodist was the first that organizers from Community Action Now and the Police Association, CAPA, said that they will help restore Savannah and address some of the long-standing issues residents have been facing. The next meeting is scheduled for 6 p.m. on July 20th, and that will look at some solutions. Turning our attention overseas, Bill Cosby's accusers are speaking out after newly unsealed court documents revealed the comedian admitted giving sedatives to at least one of the women who accused him of sexual assault. The deposition came from a 10-year-old lawsuit that was eventually settled. The 2005 deposition was part of a sexual assault suit filed by a former employee at Temple University, Cosby's alma mater. The case was settled and the documents sealed until the Associated Press argued in court successfully to have them released. More than 24 women have accused Cosby of sexual misconduct, but the statute of limitations on most of the accusations has expired. Meanwhile, the debate over whether to remove the Confederate flag from its place at a memorial in front of the South Carolina state capitol will go before the State House of Representatives on Wednesday. It's far from clear when a vote may actually be taken. Earlier Tuesday, the South Carolina Senate gave final approval to a bill to remove the Confederate flag from the grounds of the Capitol. The vote was 36-3. And keeping our eye on the economy, here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. As we can see, everything is up. The Dow, 93, NASDAQ, 5, S&P 500, 12. Coming up on News 2, the ad promising a car for $47 a month was part of a multi-million-dollar fraud. How to protect yourself from scams like this one. Plus, in a world where the slogan, "It takes a village," comes into play at every turn, one Virgin Islands woman is taking the lead to live a more purposeful life. Coming up. Well, summer is in full swing, and in the last few weeks, we told you about a number of summer camps being offered across the territory for your children. But how safe are they from getting sick while at camp? The Department of Health has some tips to safeguard against certain diseases. News 2's Erica Parsons has more.
Summer is a time for fun and games, but it's also when health experts see a rise in infectious diseases among children. VI Department of Health officials say parents need to protect their children from many of the summer illnesses reported to the Environmental Health Division each year. The more common illnesses include hand, foot, and mouth disease, which includes symptoms of fever, blister-like sores in the mouth, and a skin rash. There's also impetigo, which looks like a red rose around the nose and mouth areas. Ringworm is a ring-like rash on the skin or scalp that's caused by fungi, and we're all familiar with the common cold, which usually starts with a sore throat and runny nose, and then symptoms of coughing and sneezing follow. The chickenpox is also high on that list. Its symptoms are itching, fatigue, fever, and a blister-like rash. Health experts say summer camps can be a haven for infectious diseases because of the number of children attending and the highly contagious nature of each illness. Summer camp organizers, along with parents, can do their part to help prevent the spread of these illnesses that can spread rapidly in camp environments. Health experts say there should be adequate hand washing stations, and camps should make sure students are hand sanitizing regularly. Those two tips could mean the difference between a miserable summer and a fun one, since many of the illnesses live on the surface and can be easily killed by hand washing practices and a good cleaning solution. Erica Parsons, News 2.
Officials say a red flag for parents should also be a combination of any of the symptoms mentioned. Those are poor appetite, fatigue, sores on the mouth and lower limbs, flat raised red bumps, blisters or rash, fever, stiff neck, or back pain. Senate President Neville James says the 2015 LEDGE VI summer employment program is in full swing, employing local high school and college students across the territory for the remainder of the summer. This year's program has hired a total of 140 students and placed them in positions throughout government agencies, both on the local and federal level. Students will be working in their assigned positions for 4 to 6 weeks. Each senator was given the opportunity to hire a total of 8 students using funds allotted within the budgetary confines of the legislature's annual budget. That total of 120 students was augmented by an additional 20 students who were hired by senators using their office's personal allotments. Well, in a world where the slogan, "It takes a village," comes into play at every turn, one Virgin Islands woman is taking the lead to live a more purposeful life and truly be the change that she wants to see. She says it's all about sisters helping sisters in order to make a difference.
Anique Harrigan decided it was time to set forth on the journey to assist those in need. So she began the Sisters Helping Sisters VI organization.
Sisters Helping Sisters VI was actually a thought that came to me, or an idea that I thought of one day when I was in my closet. I was just cleaning it out and I realized that I had a lot of stuff, really good things that I wanted to get rid of, but I didn't just want to give them to anyone or just toss them outside the door. So what I decided was to have a boutique event where it's high-end, it's tasteful, it's elegant, it's classy, and women could come and donate their items.
Last month, the organization featured its second boutique event at Yacht Haven Grand, where ladies stop by and score a one-of-a-kind look at the bargain price with their collection of new and gently used clothing, shoes, and accessory items.
I have realized this is something that is definitely necessary on the island. With the 8% cut in the government a couple of years ago, people are still having a hard time, still trying to catch themselves. And then we have a lot of undocumented individuals in the Virgin Islands. We also have a lot of seniors living on fixed incomes, and things are a little bit harder for them. The energy was just good, the vibe was great, people just interacted with each other.
The high-end boutique environment, complete with fashion consultants, were there to serve and deliver a personal touch to their guests.
We were able to make a couple $1,000s over the span of the 2 days, and I reached out to the Family Resource Center. I know right now they're having some challenges, some financial challenges, so I was able to give $1,000 to them. Then there's a student out of St. Croix that is dealing with some throat cancer issues. I was able to make a $1,000 donation through the Community Foundation of the VI to them as well. And then there's also an organization out of St. John called the Sisterhood Agenda. I was able to reach out to that individual and give them $1,000.
Anique's goal is to replicate, she says, the feel and ambience of a high-end boutique in New York, Los Angeles, or Miami in order to allow attendees to get the royal treatments.
I know it's real easy to just toss your bag over the wall at Salvation Army or just to give it to a shelter, but when you do that, you're not really engaging with women. Just having the great feedback, knowing that you're giving back to your community, an awesome feeling. Just being able to network with individuals, being able to reach out to women and have that conversation. I love it, I enjoy it, I feel like it's my passion, and that's the #1 thing that I probably get out of, Sisters Helping Sisters VI.
You can call Anik at 642-7702 or log on to Facebook, Sisters Helping Sisters VI, or email uniqueanik@hotmail.com. She will be collecting items as early as November this year for the next event that will be held in January. Well, this past Saturday, participants of the 2015 Entrepreneur Business Institute, or EBI, sponsored by the International Capital and Management Company, ICMC, and UVI, School of Business, dedicated their time, energy, and entrepreneurial expertise towards the operation of their very own Car Wash for Cause business. The group successfully raised a whopping $914 for the 5-hour-long event, with all proceeds going towards the Family Resource Center. EBI is a free summer program that exposes 30 participants to entrepreneurial leadership and business skills each year, while giving them a preview of college life on the University of the Virgin Islands campus on St. Thomas. Well, it was one of those come-on car ads that was too hard to resist, but this ad was part of a multi-million-dollar scam that lured in hundreds of victims. Consumer Alert unravels who was behind the con game and how you can protect yourself from similar schemes.
Get a brand new Suzuki SX4 or Hovensa for an initial $0 down payment and only $47 a month payment. Sounds like a deal, right? Hundreds of consumers saw this ad or received a mailing from Joe Gibson's dealership and expected a car for $47 a month. What they got?
$47 a month, and in a year, your payments will balloon up to $700, or you can come back and just trade it in, and we'll redo the deal.
If people went back expecting a legitimate explanation,
they'd say, look, that program no longer exists, so you're on the hook for $600 a month. And so people were going into default, their credit was being ruined, and it was a mess. It was a mess.
Another ploy for luring in victims, direct mailings that looked like checks.
They would take it into the dealership and it was, $10,000 or $500 or what have it. And there was never a check, but that was to get them in the door.
Hundreds of complaints were flooding into the Better Business Bureau about the false advertising.
When it started, they started coming in one after the other. Something's wrong. That maybe somebody on the other side is not doing the right thing.
That's when the Better Business Bureau went to the postal inspectors and requested they investigate.
$18 million in fraud, a hard loss of a little over $8 million, 600 victims. It was absolutely egregious, egregious. I mean, that's the best way to say it. These people had no shame.
Postal inspectors say before you sign on the dotted line, do your research.
If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. If you have any question at all, or just as good practice, call the Better Business Bureau and ask them, hey, what do you have on these people? Because they would have been advised really fast, hey, we kicked this company out of the Better Business Bureau for fraud.
Joe Gibson was sentenced to 6 months in prison on mail and wire fraud charges. He was also ordered to be on probation for 5 years after his release from prison. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.